You're listening to the Major Pod Network, the only place where your favorite toy store, bar, arcade, and arena are all on the same block. Scratch that major itch.
Today on the Game Marks podcast, we play Wrestle Kingdom thanks to Mega Mark Tekker. Will this game hold up today? Will we play it forever? Woo! Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
All this plus gaming news, Clash at the Feast, and an update on Gameboree 2021. Plug in, put on those nostalgia goggles, because this week's Game Marks podcast starts now.
And now, the Game Marks!
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast presented by the Major Pod Network. I'm the man they call Johnny Clash.
And I am Mr. Anything is Feasible, George Feis, and today we are playing Wrestle Kingdom.
And as always, we love to hear from you, so please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and make sure to subscribe and rate this podcast wherever you choose to listen. Join the conversation on social media at GameMarksPod and on Patreon at patreon.com/GameMarksPod. Hi there, man they call George Feis. How you doing?
Wrestle Kingdom. Thank you to Tekker for picking this game. John, I am hyped.
I'm hyped too
for this game. But we gotta do a little recap from last week. Backyard Wrestling 2. That was that was a game.
Was it?
It was something.
It was something.
For sure.
At least knowing that Wrestle Kingdom's it's from Ukes. It's on the Day of Reckoning engine. It's built upon that. Oh, it's just a breath of fresh air from Backyard Wrestling 2. I'll say that. I'm
gonna say this because the you know, in the movies when like the clouds part and the light shines down and everything seems like it's like back to normal. That happened last week, right at the end of the episode, when I was suddenly like, "Oh my God, it's Def Jam." That for me, that was the crowning moment of that entire episode. I was just like, "Oh, the light bulb has turned on." I realized what game this felt like, and now,
and you could hear it in your voice too.
Now a lot of things kind of changed for that game. Where like, I kept comparing it to other things. It doesn't change my rating of it. But mechanically, it kind of makes you think about it a little differently because now it feels a little more familiar.
I agree, and I get where you're coming from with that too. I definitely, when you said it, it was that light shining on for both of us. Like, oh yeah. But let's talk about what's on the schedule for this week, because today, Monday, if you're listening when this show drops, you're also getting it ad-free on Patreon. Tuesday, you are getting the show notes on Patreon, and you're getting GMP Game Over at 7 p.m., where we play. We switched from AKI Evolution to now the predecessor Showdown 64. We had some fun with that, so check that out. Wednesday, Future Endeavor. George, last week you played Cutie Suzuki, one of our favorite games in the world. Ugh. And this week, speaking of favorite games, I get to play WWF Betrayal.
Can we talk about how, for me not really wanting to play Cutie Suzuki, it ended up being one of the longer episodes of Future Endeavor that I have done yet, and I was just like, how did this happen?
Because you just can't stop. It just sucks you in. And then
what a great choice of words to use there.
It was. I thought about it too. And then Wednesday night is the Wednesday night main event with George Feis on Twitter. On Twitch. That's twitch.tv/GameMarksPod. And then Thursday, you're getting episode 5 of the Day of Reckoning playthrough coming out on YouTube, and that's on youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast.
Now, John, this is normally the part where you throw it to me and you're like, George, tell us about the streamer spotlight, but I feel like I can't do it justice because, I mean, I'm not featured on the channel. So I think it would be great if you talk to us about the streamer spotlight for the month of November.
The streamer spotlight for the month of November. We're going to youtube.com/createaprowrestling. Go hit that subscribe button. You have Cap TV. You have old matches. You have old promos. You could see MJF's first match on that channel. You could see MJF versus Brian Myers. You could see Johnny Clash versus Brian Myers. You could see Johnny Clash versus MJF. The world is your oyster. Create a Pro Wrestling. Head on over and actually, George, it's Monday. Create a Pro tickets for Happy Holidays featuring Matt Cardona, Smart Mark Sterling, Max Caster. The whole gang is there. They go on sale tonight. And last show sold out almost instantly. So I would go get those if you're in the New York or if you want to travel, get them now.
I'm going to get mine. I got to go hang out with all my friends.
You have to pay to do it.
Yeah, you know what? I'm happy to support my friends.
But speaking of YouTube, check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast. We mentioned we have the Day of Reckoning playthroughs on there. We're up to episode 5 this week. There's only going to be about 8 of these because it is a quicker story mode. And coming this month, the video game history of the Road Warriors, the Legion of Doom. We cannot wait to do this.
Oh, man. But listen, also we got to talk about GameMarksPod.com/shop. You've got our gamer grips. You've got the 1 and 2 year anniversary prints. You've got our GMP guitar pick stickers for your cars. Links to our pro wrestling tees. ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod. And our T Public store, where you can get limited edition prints like the 2 year anniversary shirt, and maybe we'll be dropping some shirts that feature the episode artwork on there every now and then. So be on the lookout and stay up to date. GameMarksPod.com/shop.
All right, but let's pivot for a minute because we do this every year. This year is turning out to be one of the biggest years yet. We're going to talk about We're going to talk about Gameboree 2021, and let's talk about where we're currently standing with that. Because as of this recording, we are at $905 raised for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We are, including what our sponsors already donated, because they donated as well. We're going to share all the numbers at the end when it's all over January 1st. We're over last year's numbers. We're over 1,000. We're almost up to 1,500. And we already kind of have an idea of who's going to win these prizes, but you never know who's going to come out of left field at the end and kind of, take the prizes, because
I was going to say
they're pretty damn good.
You can claim these amazing prizes for your own. It's not like you're giving the money to me and John. It's going right to charity, right to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, and you can win some cool prizes all while supporting an amazing cause. Thank you to everyone who have donated already, and hey man, we're only 3 weeks in. We're just getting started.
Yeah, I want to really hit like the $3,000 mark and see what's up. You could kind of treat this like an eBay listing. Like you could snipe someone at the end for these top prizes.
That's true. And these are some of these prizes are like one of ones. It's going to take a lot of effort to kind of recreate some of these prizes here.
Yeah, so head on over to GameMarksPod.com/donate. You can get all the info as well as the donate link.
But all right, John, are you ready? This is we're going to have a big thing to talk about here after some gaming news here, but give me the headlines here.
All right.
Are you looking to get a better grip on life? How about your video games? Well, VGF Gamers are the largest silicone gaming brand in the USA. They have a variety of different and unique skins for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers and consoles. Check out their products at VGFgamers.com and use code GameMarks to receive 15% off your order at checkout. That's GAMEMARKS at checkout. VGF Gamers. Better grip, better style. All right, John. Now, normally this is the part where I throw it to you or you interrupt me and we talk about gaming news for a little bit, but there's one big definitive edition series of a game that released. I feel like we got to talk about it.
I get it.
Because it's,
definitive problems.
Either you love it or you hate it or you're Johnny Clash and you're going to wait 6 months to buy it.
Yeah, so Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy, the definitive edition, it's already pulled from Rockstar Games. You can't buy it right now because it's broken. And they want to go in there, they want to fix the malfunctions that are happening within the game. It was said that people who bought the game were able to play, just not online, but it seems like right now, even if you bought the game, it is just not happening. So that kind of puts a damper on their release, and usually Rockstar is a fan favorite. People are genuinely pleased. I mean, GTA 5 has been going for how many years now? That it's on top of the world, and to have the 3 favorite games come out and then be broken, that's kind of just it's like a punch in the face.
Yeah, so they this was actually brought up in our Discord. Apparently they used some AI system to kind of like scan over the text and then retexturize it and a zoom and enhance, if you will.
That doesn't bother me as much because
but there were some mistranslations and things like that, which
But these games are supposed to be like funny and silly, kind of, and to have those errors is kind of like, oh, that's just GTA.
Yeah, it's what happens. It's understandable. They're not going to go in and rebuild. I mean, I don't know. It's a toss-up. Some could say that it's not a remaster if you don't go in and like really remaster the game.
Like Halo.
At the same time, do you really care what the sides of the shop say? Like if it says, the example that we were shown was it says air guitars, and when they AI scaled it up, it says AR guitars, and oh no, it's not a game-breaking bug like everything else was, but can't be too focused on the textures of an upscaling because, like I said, it's not making or breaking the game.
No, but there is another thing now in GTA 3 originally. There was a billboard for Francis International Airport. We all know the airport in the game. It's the one you are primarily going to and flying your planes out of. So the billboard says, "See you soon, Miami," which obviously is for the sequel coming out, GTA Vice City. So it no longer says, "See you soon, Miami." It now says Los Santos Beach. Now that is obviously a different area, but people, of course, are speculating this has to do with GTA 6. Now, Los Santos Beach could just be the new expanded and enhanced GTA 5 that's coming out. But people are thinking way too much into this because the plane is flying away from Los Santos, not towards it.
Huh.
I don't know.
mean,
it could be Rockstar just like, well, they're going to speculate this anyway. Let's give them something to talk about.
I mean, Rockstar is very well known for their Easter eggs and hiding like small little details in billboards. And, there's the very famous one on top of the bridge. There is no Easter egg up here. Go away. They have references to future games and past games and stuff like that. So, the only way that we're going to know for sure is when we get a little bit more information on GTA 6.
And when the game's available, like to actually download again.
Yeah, but hey, I'd be willing to hop on the train that this could be a reference to what the next GTA 6 will look like. Maybe it is, so far away. Maybe it's going to be somewhere that's a little more European based. Maybe it's going to be like a tropical based.
I was thinking that. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. So,
never know.
While we're talking about Rockstar, there was apparently a guy who works for Rockstar that in his LinkedIn profile said that he was working on Red Dead Redemption 3.
Oh.
And I think it was removed at this point. It probably is. But of course, Rockstar, speculations, everyone starts going in an uproar that Red Dead Redemption 3, which it's going to happen. They think it's going to happen sooner than we think.
Now, you played...
the first one only.
Oh, you did not play the second one?
I did not, no.
Oh, I would have bet all the money that you
It's been on the list, but so has Last of Us 2 that I've been wanting to play for how long now, and I got it at release. That still sitting in the box. But hey, I finished Miles Morales finally, so that's the next thing that's going in.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, takes time to 100% complete a game, and I know that you wanted to do that with Spider-Man 2, so I'm glad that you were able to do that.
Yeah, but that's that's pretty much the gaming news for this week. Nothing else really crazy. I think Boba Fett's coming to Fortnite real soon, which I have no interest in that game anymore. We tried it that one time, and that was the last I touched it.
I would reinstall it because I have a feeling it's coming up for Game Marks Mania.
Oh boy. All right. Hey, whatever. For the people.
Right.
All right, but up next, it's the Mark Out Moment of the Week. What's up, Game Marks? Are you trying to look your best while repping your favorite video game podcast duo? We know just the place. Head over to ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod to pick up your favorite GMP designs, including our various logo tees, Future Endeavor, the classic NES Pro Wrestling style tee, and of course, mark the F out. Order today and receive a phone call from us. You never know who will pop in. That's ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod. Play it forever.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is official. We have surpassed $500 in donations for Gameboree, which means we have unlocked the GMP64 Super Show, which will be a live stream event on Twitch. And the date is to be determined. We're thinking it's going to happen sometime in maybe like the first 2 weeks of December. We'll post more information on that when we're able to fully square it away. But that is awesome. And if you want to make your own match for GMP64 Super Show on Twitch, all you got to do is donate $20, and in the comments of your donation, put the match that you want to see. And John and I will be happy to put that match together. Now, that being said, you have to pick from the rosters of Season 1, GMP64. Anyone from John's brand, anyone from my brand, created characters, all available. You can mix and match, put any match type together that you want, and we will do it.
Do we want to announce our first match here?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so
This one's for Spork.
This one comes from Tekker, and it is the reigning Intercontinental Champion of GMP64. One of the longest reigning champions, most dominant we've had.
He's not the reigning. He got his ass kicked.
All right, but before that, he was one of the longest reigning. The Big Boss Man will take on
the hardcore legend,
George Feis. I'm not letting you finish that.
Damn it. But
there's going to be
a caveat.
There's a special guest referee here, and it will be, in his no mercy glory, David C. Anderson. I don't even think he knows this is a thing, but he's going to be pretty hyped.
Well, that model exists, and maybe we'll have to reach out to DCA to see if we can get him to be the special.
I was going to say
special guest referee.
I think we should do that. I think I'll be Big Boss Man, you be yourself, and we'll have him third controller in if it's possible.
If it's possible. If not, maybe we'll get on the line with Swoggle or something, and Swoggle could be Kavish.
Oh, I love it. That's going to be great. But all right, like we said, GameMarksPod.com/donate. It's only $20 to make a match, and it goes straight to our GoFundMe for St. Jude. And with that, George, is it time for Wrestle Kingdom?
So, before we jump into the game, I just wanted to kind of spring this idea up on you really quick. What if, between the rest of this month and all of next month, we kind of use the markout moment to highlight Gameboree a little bit more, maybe a little more incentive to donate. So how about we take everyone's name who's donated each week and we put them into the wheel that they use for like the card draws on the Card Foundation. And if you win, we send you a prize.
I like it. I got a bunch of grips sitting here. I got guitar picks. We could send them whatever. So
that's what we'll do. If you've donated at all throughout Gameboree, and from here on out, each week, we're going to put a bunch of names into the wheel. And if your name comes up, you win a prize. And we're going to say right now, no duplicates. So if you win the first week and then your name comes up the second week, we're just going to spin it again. So there won't be any duplicates because we want to keep it fair for everybody. But hey, that's just like another little thing that we can use to highlight Gameboree and a little more incentive for you guys to donate. So like John just said, GameMarksPod.com/donate. And we will see you next week for the markout moment of the week. But right now, let's dive in to Wrestle Kingdom.
What's up, Marks? We are proud to announce our newest partnership with NordVPN.
Protect your privacy from prying eyes with military-grade encryption and NordVPN. Are you sick of getting targeted ads after looking up a product or talking about it once? Whether you want to maximize your streaming services, get better protection while working from home, or just want an added layer of security while browsing the internet, NordVPN is an easy and affordable way to protect access to your personal data.
Visit GameMarksPod.com/VPN to get more information and try NordVPN risk-free with their 30-day money-back guarantee.
Protect your information, reduce your digital footprint, and feel safer on the internet, all with NordVPN. Man, NordVPN. Let's talk about this really quick. This is something that you and I have talked about a lot on and off for the last, I don't know, year and a half for a number of different reasons. I like it because it unlocks and opens up a bunch of content on a lot of streaming services. So if you watch Netflix or Disney Plus or Hulu on your laptop and pop open that VPN and you set your region to somewhere else, now things that normally aren't on that streaming service or were previously locked because of a region block now are wide open. Unlocks a lot of content across, and I know for you, you're really enjoying playing video games online now a little bit more.
Oh yeah, we're smoking kids in the Netherlands, but no, but you could use this thing to bring back WWE Network if you want. If you don't want to use Peacock, you could use the WWE Network with this VPN. If you want to watch games within your market, I know on like ESPN Plus they block out the local games. You can now set it across country. You can now watch your team play. So this thing's awesome. It's gonna really up your game. It's gonna up your streaming, and check it out.
Yeah,
GameMarksPod.com/VPN.
Yeah, I know that NordVPN has a lot of sales going on. As we were recording right now, they have a Black Friday deal, and I believe that is going on for the next couple weeks. So if you're hearing this and you want to give it a shot, like we said, 30-day money-back guarantee. You can try it carefree and take back your internet privacy today.
All right, that's way better than DuckDuckGo.
All right, Wrestle Kingdom. Released for the Xbox 360 on December 22nd, 2005, and on the PlayStation 2, July 20th, 2006. Published and developed by Yuke's. Now, other games that are out, 2005, John, let's talk about this massive lineup of games.
Yeah, so I figured I would put 2005 and 2006 in here, even though the 360 version came out December of 05, late December. So really, it's a 2006 game, but what's out at the time? Because we know it's Christmas time. You're still playing the games from the year before, and this is a Japan-only game. This was not released in the U.S., but you have WWE Raw and SmackDown Mobile. You have WrestleMania 21 for the Xbox, WWE Aftershock for the N-Gage, Day of Reckoning 2 for the GameCube, SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, and SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. But also you have Fire Pro Wrestling Returns for the PlayStation 2. So this was a pretty stacked list.
Oh, man.
These 2 years themselves, I would say from like 04 to 07 were probably some of my favorite years in wrestling games.
Oh yeah, it's a nice long list of games that, I mean, new features, new content, new rosters. It's a good series of years to be a wrestling fan.
Absolutely, yeah. And you're getting now this game, Wrestle Kingdom, especially if you're in Japan. It's exclusive, and it's built upon, I should say, the Day of Reckoning engine.
Which, you know, love it, hate it. Know that you love it. I originally didn't like it, but I've definitely come around over playing it for, you know, this game. I've gone back and I've played Day of Reckoning 1. Looking forward to playing Day of Reckoning 2. You know, this it's a nice, plays nice, looks nice. All around, there's not a whole lot to hate about this game. We'll talk a little bit more about the parts that we think could be better, but this game actually combines top stars from New Japan, All Japan, and Pro Wrestling Noah, as well as independent wrestlers, freelance wrestlers, whatever you want to call them. But I mean, I don't even know where to start. I mean, do we just start at like that opening cinematic? It's awesome.
It's great. It's just what you expect in any Yuke's game. They were very popular for these, and you know, eventually they got to just doing like the WWE title intro, which was really lame, but I like the unique videos per game, and this is one of the good ones.
Yeah, I mean, any video that plays at the beginning of a game that combines the graphics and the feel of the game blended and mixed with the real life wrestlers and like footage of that, for some reason, that maybe it's a personal thing, maybe, you know, this is just a widely accepted thing, but for me, that always felt more immersive and cooler when you watch that intro where like you see someone hitting a burning hammer, or you see someone hitting a brain buster, and then it cuts midway from the real life footage to the game footage. And that blending is always so cool to me.
That's a big Ukes thing. But this game is a little bit different than the other games that we see from Japan because they aren't full-on wrestling simulators. That's what I kind of always liked about the GameCube series of games because they're not arcadey, but they're not like the games now where you have to chain wrestle and you have
It's a little button mashy.
It's a little button mashy, which is fine because you could run and just hit your heat-seeking clotheslines and whatever, and taunts
We've
raise
never talked about how much we hate those.
I love those. And your taunts raise your stamina up, and then you get your special quicker. It's more of I don't really know how to describe it. It's not a simulation.
It's a nice combination of a Day of Reckoning style engine, but there's also a certain level of familiarity if you've played a wrestling game on a console within like the last 2 years. Like it's not, the learning curve isn't huge.
So what I think right now is while we played this, I was thinking how right now in 2021, about to be 2022, we're going to see an All Elite wrestling game from the same people. And judging by that one small video they showed of Darby Allin and I think it was Jungle Boy, it seemed like it's going to run like this, and this is what we want. We don't want the full-on simulation-based games right now because they're old, they're stale. But I really just think this is the direction they're going to go for the AEW game. And then I'm thinking, what if AEW puts in, like, New Japan? What if they put in All Japan? What if they put in...
Forbidden door has been open, John. The sky's the limit.
Like, you see the guys come and go, especially the Japanese legends. Who's saying they're not going to be in the game?
10 years ago, do you ever think that you would be watching on TNT Jon Moxley against Minoru Suzuki?
With Tony Schiavone calling it? No, I never thought that ever.
There's just like a crazy amount of talent that is crisscrossing and overlapping right now that I have to imagine that there's going to be some kind of overlap between New Japan. Now, that being said, the only thing that would hold back that possibility would be if there's an exclusive license that would be signed to for the Fire Pro series. Because we do talk about it in Clash at the Feast this week. The reason that there may not have been anything, that this isn't a series that still continues is because Ukes very clearly does not have the license exclusively to New Japan anymore.
So Fire Pro, we're really off on a tangent here, but Fire Pro Wrestling World came out in 2017. Do they ever share like info about another one coming out, or is this one just still top game? Like, I don't know.
I mean, as far as I know, this is still considered to be the best Fire Pro Wrestling game that they've made.
And they're just rolling with it.
I mean, it's look at Rockstar.
Yeah, no, you're right.
You got a game that's still sitting on top, and the community loves it. Just keep releasing content for it, and it's a self-sustaining kind of creator base with the workshop where you can make your own wrestlers and arenas and stuff. So you don't have to have a yearly release for games like Fire Pro. But okay, I'm gonna put us back on track here for Wrestle Kingdom, but I just wanted to go back to the AEW game one more time and give my one thought. For me, what my expectations are for the AEW game is going to be knowing who they've signed to help develop the game. They have the big name from AKI. They've got the team from Ukes. They've got the roster from AEW. They've got such a mashup that I would have to imagine that this game is going to end up being some kind of mashup between No Mercy and A Day of Reckoning. Just the lead developer, the programming team, the gaming team at Ukes, that coming together, I think it's going to be a game like we've never seen before.
I agree, and that's why this game reminded me so much of it, because it is these three. It's New Japan, it's All Japan, it's Noah, it's your indie stars. Jamal's in this game. We're not even on the roster yet. Jamal Umaga is in this game. I just think that this is going to be kind of the gateway to a game like that. But we digress. Wrestle Kingdom. Let's get into these game modes here, because you have singles, you have tag, triple threat, fatal 4-ways, 5-on-5s, gauntlets, battle royals, survival mode. There are no specialty matches, so there are no like steel cages, there's no ladders, hardcore, no tables. And there is a defining mode, which is typically what they do call their career mode, and it's called drama mode.
Yeah. Now this plays very similar to how you would expect a lot of these storyline, story-driven wrestling games. You make your wrestler, you train under one of the biggest stars in each promotion, and you train and you have matches to improve your stats. And, in addition to improving your stats, it also helps you unlock moves, and you get to pick your, what's the word here? How would you say that you advance in this game? It's a tournament style?
I guess it's very similar to like a Fire Pro. What are they called? Road to Championship? Championship Road?
Championship Road, yeah.
They are a lot like Championship Road, where you're getting, instead of those scenes where you're talking with the text, but it's actually now the guy in front of you. It's not just that still image. So he's actually just talking to the screen. Your mentors, you have Masahiro Chono, Hiroyoshi Tenzen, Osama Nishimura, of course, Jushin Thunder Liger, Kaiji Moto, Tashiaki Kawada, Mitsuharu Masawa, Kento Kobashi. And as you progress, you get... Christy's looking at me like, how do you know these names? And as you progress, you actually unlock their moves. So here was the thing that kind of sucks if you want to create like Hulk Hogan, if you want to create an American star in this game, or even another Japanese star. Unless you go through this drama mode, you don't raise your stats. So you could create, I don't know, Frank Mir to go against Brock Lesnar. He's going to be a 46 when Brock's like an 89.
And, you have to be associated with a certain promotion. So depending on who you pick as your trainer, you get associated with a specific brand, and it affects where you're going to start. So, example, you're going to pick Kawada. You're going to start in All Japan. Now, that's an interesting aspect, and it changes how what character you would make and what promotion you're going to go through. But let's talk a little about the creator wrestler. It's very, very similar to Day of Reckoning. It looked familiar. It felt familiar. If you've played Day of Reckoning and you've made a character, this is, the appearance of the options on the screen are different, but the options are the same.
Yeah, so you could literally, every aspect of like the face or the head, you could sculpt it to make it look like you or whoever you're creating. And I know there were a lot of like cheat CC documents back in the day with like, you want to create Jeff Hardy in Day of Reckoning, use 20 on the head, 14 on the nose, like stuff like that. Yeah. So it is very similar. You get your name, the appearance, the costume. You obviously do the moves. You do the entrance, where it's also like Day of Reckoning, where you're going piece by piece on the entrance. It's not just one still entrance. You could set like your entrance. You could from the stage. You could set from the ramp. You could set from in the ring. And one thing I always thought was cool was you take a photo of your wrestler for the roster page.
Yeah, that's something that I guess they didn't really like implement into the WWE series of games for
not for a while,
really long time.
Raw 2 had a weird one, and I know they do it now, but I liked.
I'm not a fan of the system now.
And this and Day of Reckoning, both, I know you could like do the lighting, you could go under, over, like make your guy look a little mysterious, and it actually renders out like your 3D model along with the other 3D model, so it's a little more immersive there.
Yeah. Now, something that I like in this game that you don't really get to do a lot in more modern games, I guess. I don't really remember this being in a lot of games, wrestling games in general, but you can actually pick the style that your wrestler will play if it's set to a computer. So if it has an AI, you can pick the fighting style that it would be. And I remember early in the games, like I think you can do it in one of the early SmackDown titles. You really don't see a lot of this nowadays.
No, you don't. You just kind of are. That's because the AI now is just dumb.
Yeah, I mean,
it's dumb.
Yeah,
they're dumb. It could be so much better. And I think that kind of.
I can't really argue with that.
Like, you ever try to, like, you're against the Dudley Boys, you want them to hit a 3D. They're not going to hit a 3D. They're going to hit their individual specials.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
And
that's just an example.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's a little more of a, for lack of a better term, creative wrestler.
Yeah.
A little more in depth than you're used to. But listen, man, we got quite a roster to go through here. So, you ready to dive into this one?
I am. But before we do that, we'll hear a word from our sponsors.
All right, John. So I figured this is a pretty evenly split roster. So I'll take the first two sections. You can take the second two sections.
Sure.
All right. So your New Japan Pro Wrestling roster is as follows: Shinsuke Nakamura, Hiroyoshi Tanahashi, The Masked Devilock, who's a hidden character, Hiroyoshi Tenzan, Yuji Nagata, Manabu Nakanishi, Tatsumi Fujinami, Jushin Thunder Liger, the original Tiger Mask, who is another hidden character, Tiger Mask 4, Koji Kanemoto, Minoru Tanaka, Wataru Noyu, Jado, Gato, Antonio Inoki, another hidden character, and PS2 exclusives. You ready for this one? Giant Bernard and Brock Lesnar.
That sucks for Xbox users.
Oh yeah. Now your All Japan Pro Wrestling roster is Kaiji Muto. The Great Muta with the mask is a hidden character. Satoshi Kojima, Arashi, Taiyo Kia, and Kaz Hayashi.
WCW legend. All right, now Pro Wrestling Noah, you have Mitsuharu Misawa, Kenta Kobashi, Jun Akiyama, Akira Tao, Takeshi Rikio, Takeshi Morishima, Yoshinari Ogawa, Mohammed Yon, Naomichi Marufuji, Kenta, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, Takashi Sugiura, and your freelancers are Yoshihiro Takayama, Toshiaki Kawada, Junichiro Tenryu, Kensuke Sasaki, whatever, Riki Choshu, Kazunari Murakami, Katsuyori Shibata, Shinya Hashimoto, Osama Nishimura, and Jamal. And like we said before, Jamal is, yes, of Rosie and Jamal. It is Umaga. Rest in peace.
Now, the arenas for this game are all over the place. You've got the domes. You've got your big, just like generic arenas. You've got a training facility. You've got two arenas that are labeled as overseas. I think one of them is supposed to replicate MSG.
Yeah,
and
usually.
There's another one that's just like a massive, massive arena. It's probably like the Superdome or something. Like there's nothing. I don't want to say there's nothing specific about each arena, because obviously there are. They're referencing other places, but in our translation and in our research, we didn't see anything that was like hard labeled as like the Tokyo Dome. It's just called the Dome.
It looks nice though.
The arenas themselves, not bad.
They're great stages. I would say the stages are good, and like the assembly of like, I won't call it the Titantron. It's not a Titantron, but I'll call it the Titantron. The top of the ramp, if you will. It looks great. The arenas themselves, a little to be imagined, but the crowd.
Oh, hold on. Let's hold off on the crowd, because there is another feature.
Crowd.
There is another feature that you get to pick, and you get to pick between 3 different ring setups. So you choose one of three. There's a blue canvas, a white canvas, and a green canvas. The side banners change. It's cool. They are very, very, very different. So depending on the arena that you put it in, if you want to have, you can mix and match. It's an interesting feature. But yeah, entrances. Super cool. The likeness of these characters. I mean, the first thing I said when I opened this game was, damn, this is pretty for a PlayStation 2 game. Like, it looks really, really nice. It holds up graphically, I think. Yeah, now, John, now we can talk about the crowd because, the crowd.
I'll start here.
Lack thereof.
I'll start by saying how you mentioned it's pretty. It's really nice. I think Day of Reckoning has the same appearance where you're like, whoa, this looks awesome. But like how we said earlier, it's not a direct simulation. So where they look great, they're kind of a little still, like caricature-y, but not so much. But you want to compare it to something like All-Star Pro Wrestling 2. Now, that's like beautiful, spot-on arenas. This still has that little bit of it, like it lacks something, and the depth of the arenas, like you have the crowd in the front row and the front 10 seats, but then anything past that is just dark and like little specks on the screen that you could barely see.
It's like we talked about it recently. They put the dim lights over the crowd, but
you don't see anything move. You don't even see the crowd.
No, not even that. My thing for me, I don't even know if you noticed this, but there's a huge gap. So it's like you have like the closed seats, then there's a massive just darkness. Like there's no way that's like the channels to like get through the seats, like the ramps and to walk around and stuff. It's like 45 feet of just nothing, and then you see like the nosebleed seats, and then that's where what John's talking about, where it's just like dots in a sky. Like is that like a backlit light over there? Is it crowds? Am I supposed to assume that those are people in the seats? Is it an empty seat? I don't really know. Most of what you see in the background is just lights. It's the lens flare through the entrances, the up close crowd, the arenas themselves built out. It's cool. The arenas themselves look nice, except for the crowds.
Now, of course, there was the training facility like we saw in 5-Star Wrestling and every M. Dickey game and all the other. I'm not choosing this ever. I know we did choose it on Clash at the Feast. It might have been random. I don't know. Maybe you chose it to get under my skin. But
I like to see if there's any. Okay, in one of the SmackDown games, actually, I think in a couple of the SmackDown games, you can customize the training room. You remember this?
Yes.
And like you can have like a model of Eddie Guerrero's lowrider. You can have like Kurt Angle's gold medals on like a shelf. Like, to me, I always thought that was cool because it's like your trophy case, but it's also like your training facility. So I always like to see if they ever include little Easter eggs in the training facilities for that reason. Because because I always thought, like, obviously with 5-Star Wrestling, the whole thing is like an homage. We're gonna say that to be nice. It's an homage or a tribute to big wrestlers in the WWE. So to see that, and then you go to the training facility arena and you're like, are there other like little references? Like, is there a glass case with like a glass viper behind there? Is there like, a rock in the case or something? Like little references like this. So I was very curious to see for this game if they had anything like, maybe they had a mannequin head with the Muda face paint on it or something like that. Or a poster for a show or something.
All right. I get it.
They didn't.
I get it, but I just noticed the crash pad like limp over in the corner.
Yeah, there's the crash pad. There's like the boxing heavy bags and stuff, and speed bags, and this propane tanks in the back or whatever. It's, it is weird. It is what it is.
All right, but let's get into this cover here because I think it's pretty cool. I like the representation of actual wrestling on a cover that doesn't have it, but what represents Japan Japanese wrestling more than Kaijimoto and his scarred up head, because that's what you're getting big. And then you have Masahiro Chono and Mitsuharu Misawa on the bottom left with the Wrestle Kingdom. Now, it's not the Wrestle Kingdom logo that we know, but we've seen this a lot in video games where if it is named after an event or something, or say even Celebrity Deathmatch, it is changed for the video game. I guess that's just branding, but I think that still looks pretty cool with a nice grunge behind it.
Yeah, it's a little grunge brush behind it. You got Pro Wrestling Noah, the New Japan, the All Japan logos on there. Obviously, the Ukes is on there and the rating. For me, having this be a game that represents Pro Wrestling Noah, All Japan, New Japan, I would have thought that those logos would have been much bigger. Obviously, you have the stars, the wrestlers themselves, big, prominent on the front of the cover, but I would have thought the logos would have been like big in the background, or like, you know, it almost looks like they're the same size as the Ukes logo. I would have thought that they would have been more prominent.
Or maybe put the logo under who's representing them.
Yeah, something like that. But listen, it's a badass. If you like Japanese wrestling, this is a badass cover.
So now let's talk about the back cover, because it's very, very lackluster. I know you're going to have a problem with just the regular rectangle screenshots, and that's really all there is to it. Xbox Live enabled, obviously, or PlayStation 2 network enabled. I think for how nice Liger looks in this game, his lack of representation on this cover is sad.
That top bar says New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Japan Pro Wrestling. Oh, wait, no. In addition to New Japan, All Japan, and Pro Wrestling Noah, as well as free players, all of the wrestlers who symbolize the current brawless scene in wrestling are here.
All right. Good translation. That was actually better than I thought it would be.
Then it says, the powerful graphics of the Xbox 360 allow wrestlers to breathe, have emotional outbursts.
It's like this podcast.
And the audience expresses a feel of the atmosphere similar to pro wrestling events live.
All right.
And then top wrestlers who started to grow in the wrestling organization as a wrestler continue to grow and become a top wrestler. Drama mode draws on that until it becomes various real wrestlers appear. A deeper world of professional wrestling unfolds like never before. I think this may be the best Google Translate of a back cover we've ever had.
It's just clean, which we get all of our covers from the Cover Project now, and I think they're just better versions.
Yeah, it talks about playing on Xbox Live, and
I do think
real connectivity, and
I think the top character models don't look as good as they actually do look in the game, which is an interesting choice to put up here.
Yeah, it's like they adjusted the levels, or maybe they tried to do like a color balance, and everyone
the scale is just weird too.
What'd you say?
The scale of them is just weird too. They're all disproportionate. But
they all look like they got a really bad spray tan. Like they just color balanced it a little too orange.
I think my suggestion here, if you're gonna go back and get this and play in a smaller arena. It'll just give you a way better feel than one of the bigger arenas.
Yeah. For me, I think the coolest feature for this game was, did you know? Did you know the Xbox 360 version of this game was temporarily recalled in Japan due to it not saving properly to the system's hard drive? A release event planned for the following 2 days after its release was canceled.
Did you know Wrestle Kingdom 2 was released on May 10th, 2007 for the PS2?
Did you know Wrestle Kingdom is currently on eBay for around $30 to $50 used and $165 sealed?
Damn.
Yeah. Now, listen, here's the thing. Normally this is the part where we put the nice music and we talk about the ratings and reviews. And listen, for the last 3 years, you've given me nothing but ease. This was a big roster. So I was going to offer, if you wanted, maybe I could do the ratings and reviews this week.
What?
Give you a chance to kick your feet up, enjoy that little Zen garden music, and you can have, you can have your moment in the sun here.
Your game FAQ user rating is a 4 out of 5 stars. That's out of 21 ratings. Your Honest Gamers rating is an 8 out of 10. And now Andrew Alfonso of IGN says, because of all the licensing issues and the fact that Japanese pro wrestling isn't even popular among Western audiences, that's a dated sentence, don't expect Wrestle Kingdom in America anytime soon. However, here's hoping that Yuke's takes the things in this game they did right and applies it to its future WWE titles this generation and next. Sorry, I just couldn't let you have that.
You know, you try to be nice, and I'm trying to...
So, Yuke's didn't apply this to any WWE game because they're still exactly the same, and they're not even with Yuke's anymore. So, hopefully, that's a big hopefully, they will apply this, which is now a very long time ago, to what we're going to get in the All Elite Wrestling console game.
It's the last time I try to do something nice for you. But hey, you know what? I think it's looking at my watch here. I think it's time to rate the games, John.
The game!
All right, Johnny Clash. I'm very curious to know what you think about this game. Wrestle Kingdom, we played the PlayStation 2 version. So I want to know, will you play it forever? Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
I think if this game came out in the US at this time, I would have played it over any SmackDown versus Raw title. I loved our playthrough. I loved Clash at the Feast. Big ol' play it forever.
Woo!
And now here's your moment, George. Wrestle Kingdom. Will you play it forever or future endeavor?
Now the average user rating is a 4 stars. Honest Gamers gave it an 8 of 10. No, that's not the right part. You're not letting me do that now?
No,
okay.
No, please
Right,
stop.
So for me, I'm torn on the button mashing aspect of it, because sometimes you play a button mashing game and it's good. Sometimes you play a button mashing game and it's annoying and frustrating. For me, I think the caveat to that is, what's the reversal system like? Because if the reversal system is something that's very complicated, then yeah, button mashing game is the worst. But for this game, it's button mashing, but countering is fairly easy. I mean, you can even counter finishers, which, nowadays is very common, but we played No Mercy for a really long time, and you can't counter a finisher in that game. So for me, I had a lot of fun. If you couldn't tell, we were playing this game in Clash of the Feast. If you couldn't tell, we were talking about it in this episode. I loved it. I thought it was great, and it is an easy play it forever from me.
Woo!
All right, a double play forever. Double piff.
But all right, let's go and talk about our weekly tournament called Clash at the Feast.
Right, this week's game, youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast, where you see us play Wrestle Kingdom. We're going to talk about last week's Backyard Wrestling 2. Unfortunately, we played this, and Game 1. We picked some familiar faces. I went with New Jack. You went with Sanjay Dutt, and I believe this was in the trailer park. And, well, you whooped my ass. You took the win. But now, I went with Sick Nick Mondo. You went with everybody's favorite Vampiro. And I believe this one was in the mini golf.
Mini golf,
because we stomped in like we were playing Rampage. And Sick Nick Mondo took the win. Now, I see the look on your face. I want you to take us through Game 3.
Match 3. John picked Tara Patrick. Don't Google it.
On brand.
I picked Sunrise Adams.
From the cover
Don't
of the
Google
game. Google it.
And we can't believe this is the sentence I'm saying. It was Tara Patrick versus Sunrise Adams in the pool.
Why can't you believe that?
In the
That's
pool.
probably
That's
the
a
most
sentence.
believable match in this whole game.
You think there's sentences that you're never going to say on podcasts, and that is that's right. That's up there.
That's up there.
That's up there. But yeah, that was a weird match. It's a lot of interesting moves that happened. To make sure to go check out Clash at the Feast for that one. But your winner, and pretty much just dominating the last 2 matches, Johnny Clash.
Play my music.
Not everything's made to last. This is my life. This is my life.
I love when our fans get to hear it lives, it breathes.
I mean, listen, I gotta say, when you win, I get kind of excited because
Because that is more competition. Yeah, we know.
No, your theme song is a banger, dude. I love listening to your theme song. I just genuinely like the song. So
Okay, great.
it plays before every stream on Wednesday night.
That's true. But all right, next week we have another Mega Mark game. This one comes from NYY Collector. George, why don't you tell us what it is and who will be joining us?
I don't know what to say first. What's bigger, the game or the person that's joining us here? Because next week we are playing Showdown Legends of Wrestling with a guy who, I'm going to be quite honest with you, John, scares the shit out of me. Because we are playing Showdown Legends of Wrestling with Max Smashmaster.
It should be fun. You've heard us talk about him in the past. He's shit on us in the past, and we're gonna.
He's a big fan of the podcast.
We're gonna get to the bottom of this.
Massive fan of the podcast.
We're gonna get to the bottom of it while we close out. Not really one of our favorite game series that we've played.
Full disclosure, we finally got to meet in person last year at FWF Live. Not last year, it was early this year, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, we finally got to meet in person earlier this year at FWF Live 1. We've had conversations over, Twitter and stuff in the past, but every time we've talked, this game has always come up. So I'm very excited to have him play this with us, and I'm very excited for him to make his Game Marks podcast debut. Max Smashmaster next week. But that is going to do it for us this week on the Game Marks podcast. So please check out all of our merchandise at GameMarksPod.com/shop. And sign up for our Patreon, patreon.com/GameMarksPod. It's the best way besides listening to support the podcast. And be sure to follow us on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. Leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts. And find us wherever great podcasts can be found. John,
You winded?
I'm gonna be doing a lot of research here to make sure that I'm up to date on all of my Max Smashmaster knowledge and facts, and hopefully we can make him a fan next week.
I hope so. Game over. Marks.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future Endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the Clash at the Feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.